That's my excuse.
Well, today was the first snow of the whole year, right? There wasn't any.
I don't remember any snow before this. Weird.
Maybe back like in March or something.
Oh, yeah, I guess if you count.
I guess.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, after summer.
Yeah. It's always funny when I'm driving because people, it's like they've never, every year it snows, and then every year it's like people forget what they're doing on the road. Like,
every year.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just love like dudes in trucks, which I have a big douche canoe of a truck, by the way. So now I'm part of that crew. But like, I love how it's just, I got 4-wheel drive,
just no, like just throw caution to the wind, just do whatever they want.
Whoa, with my 4-wheel truck, where we go?
Like, there's like a song to go with it. Got my 4-wheel truck going real fast.
Yeah, it's like it's part of the soundtrack. As you get going, you put in 4-wheel drive. It's like, got my 4-wheel truck, gonna go real fast, run over people.
At the dealership, that's how they market the car.
When it hits some ice, I can't slow down.
Damn, I gotta get this truck.
Holy shit. Dude, but it like, I mean, I love like too. Also, everybody has like the secret, to driving. It's like, and there was, see what you got to do is, I'm like, oh,
what secrets?
Go slow. Like, oh, okay, just go slow. That's what it is, Well, like, oh, pump the brakes. You got to turn into. I'm like, no.
Oh,
how about go slow?
Yeah,
like that. That's for starters. But yeah, I'm glad you. Yeah,
dude, I had. Now, this has been years ago now, but
years ago,
my wife's family lived in Memphis, Tennessee, and we went out there for Christmas or Thanksgiving or something one year, and loaded up all the siblings and spouses and everything in a big expedition, and drove to Memphis, and I was the driver, and we
to Memphis from where?
Here.
Oh,
right.
Oh, no.
And
you were the driver the whole time?
No.
Oh, okay.
But through the crucial part, it was like midnight and going up through Wyoming, and hit some black ice
on I-84.
Yeah,
dude,
I know it's wild.
That's amazing. That I swear that's the most treacherous stretch of road in all of the country.
Right.
Yeah,
it is
I-84.
Yeah, smokes people.
Yeah,
dude. I everyone was asleep pretty much. And I was just driving and hit some black ice and started fishtailing.
Oh, no.
And
they were asleep?
Yeah, everyone was asleep.
That's fun to wake up to.
Yeah. So everyone woke up to like, and it was weird because it was like, it was such an intense moment because like a swerving and like, when you fishtail, if your back end is going to the left, you steer to the left. Your back end's going to the right, you steer to the right.
Right.
And so I was doing that, kept it under control, got it back on the road, and like, it took all of 5 seconds, but it went from being like dead quiet, and it was like quiet, and everybody woke up. Mm-hmm. And then once I was like back on dry land, everyone, oh my god, that's so scary, dude.
Wow. Yeah. I remember one time I woke up in the middle of like a spin, like we were on the freeway, and my stepmom was driving. And I woke up and we were literally spinning.
You woke up.
Oh yeah. And I thought I thought that was a dream. And then my dad, when he started yelling, I was like, "Oh no, this is
real."
Yeah. And it was like one of those Isuzu rodeos, which was kind of top heavy anyway, so it kind of felt, when you're leaning over in something that's kind of higher up and it feels like it's going to tip over.
Yeah.
Felt like that, but luckily it didn't. So I mean,
waking up to that.
Yeah. Then my dad immediately. I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. Yeah, that I-84. That's a treacherous stretch of road, but
right.
Yeah, that's who's the friend you brought with you today?
So, well, I mean, your kid gave me my doppelganger. It's a little like a what are those called? Like,
I don't know what this is. I mean, for those of you who aren't seeing this, it's a little guy, it's a little doll, with way too big of a head, by the way, way too big of eyes. But I think he said it was you because the red hair.
The red hair.
Yeah, the red hair. Although this is what so his head squeezes, and I have to imagine that you can put water in it.
Well, I was just trying. I was in the bathroom. I was putting water in. I was going to squirt you. But because it comes out of the little wiener.
Oh yeah.
But I couldn't get it to do it.
The best part about this, and you guys won't be able to see this, but this little wiener on this dude is amazingly anatomically correct. That thing's not HD enough for this.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, man, some time and some effort needed to be put into that. Can you imagine being the QA guy on this? He's like, nah. They're just not defined enough.
Yeah, that's not quite in proportion. We need a little more ball, a little less wiener.
Because the plastic mold had to be formed at one point or another.
Yeah. There was a QA person.
I love too. They put little dimples in his back.
It's just cute.
Dude, that's a weird toy.
Yeah, this is strange.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, that's seemingly more detailed than like a Barbie doll.
Yeah.
How it's set up.
Yeah,
and I don't like it.
It feels a little pedo-y or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like toys for grooming or something.
Right. Yeah. Dude, that's so
strange.
I don't know if we'll be able to record another episode before Christmas. I hope so. I don't know. What are we on right now? The 9th? Okay. The 9th. I was wondering what would you say this is good for listeners to know a little bit more about us. What's your favorite Christmas movie of all time? And hopefully you don't say, well,
probably Home Alone.
Okay, not Jingle All the Way.
No.
The worst one of all time.
Yeah. Probably Home Alone.
Home Alone.
Well, wait, I mean, this is the classic dude answer. You're not going to let me count Die Hard, right?
Well,
because I mean that would be it for sure. But Home Alone.
I've heard that there's a big campaign that says Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I mean, both, they're set at Christmas, and it makes a big deal about it being at Christmas.
Is that it? That's the only requirement? Is that the movie is set at Christmas?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's. We'll see. The first plot is at Nakatomi Towers,
right?
Or whatever,
right?
And again, there's lots of Christmas references through the movie, like. I don't know. I can't believe this happened on Christmas. I mean, that's probably not a direct quote. And then,
I promise it's not.
And then Die Hard 2, like same type of thing.
Yeah, that was
Christmas again, bro.
Yeah, it was Christmas time again, wasn't it? Yeah.
So it is set around Christmas.
I love how those movies have just come. I mean, I love it, by the way, but I love how they've turned to just be preposterous. Like
I don't like how it went. I like the grittier first couple Die Hards better than like the jumping a car into a helicopter. I mean, it's cool.
I dig that. Yeah,
it's too fast, too furious, a little too much.
Yeah. Those movies are clutch though. I really dig those. You know what I've noticed more than anything is like the shoulder strength of all those dudes.
Oh, yeah, you can just like jump and grab onto ledges.
Well, not just that, like falling from stories and stories and stories and then just grabbing something. I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
And the grip strength, like, I mean, dudes are like literally flying out of cars that are going 100 miles an hour and holding on to like a cable, like a metal cable. And then being whipped around, not to mention the centrifugal force involved, and then just able to hold on to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, bro. And then just rolling out of it. I'm like, oh, the roll. That's just all you need to do.
Super athletes. Yeah.
Superhumans.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Speaking of superhumans, what are we talking about today?
Well, are you implying the CIA?
Superhumans.
Kind of. We're not talking about the cool CIA guys, though. Like the contract assassins. We're talking about some gross CIA people. Huh?
Yeah. This was a weird story how this came about. I actually heard this on another podcast, and I was like, what? Really? And then, and I had some initial thoughts about this, but I guess what I thought we probably had to do is maybe just go through it. And then maybe just kind of break it down and talk about it as we go. That sounds like a pretty decent plan.
Let's do it.
As far as those things go.
Introduce it.
Yeah. So, wow, that is not what I wanted. Is it? This is what I want. Right there. Okay.
Hey, look at that.
I know, right?
That's cool.
Okay, so headline is Secret CIA files say staffers committed sex crimes involving children. Declassified CIA Inspector General reports show a pattern of abuse and a repeated decision by federal prosecutors not to hold agency personnel accountable. This is from, I think I said BuzzFeed, posted on December 1st, 2021. So let's get into some of the content here. Over the past 14 years, the Central Intelligence Agency has secretly amassed credible evidence that at least 10 of its employees and contractors committed sexual crimes involving children. Though most of these cases were referred to U.S. attorneys for prosecution, only one of the individuals was ever charged with a crime. Prosecutors sent the rest of the cases back to the CIA to handle internally, meaning few faced any consequences beyond the possible loss of their jobs and security clearances. That marks a striking deviation from how sex crimes involving children have been handled at other federal agencies, such as the Department of Homeland Security and the Drug Enforcement Administration. CIA insiders say the agency resists prosecution of its staff for fear the cases will reveal state secrets.
See, it's that last sentence there. The CIA insiders say the agency resists prosecution of its staff for fear the cases will reveal state secrets. Like, when you think of CIA, like, what is, as far as you know, what does the CIA do?
Spies. They're spies.
Yeah.
That's what I think of. I think of, I don't know, dudes going over to other countries and turning, like
cloak and dagger shit, right?
Yeah, high profile individuals involved in foreign governments, and then turning them into, operatives, and they don't even know they're operatives. And then they become double agents, and like James Bond type.
The
shit.
Coolest movies.
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. And cars that turn into jets and stuff. and then submarines.
That's what I think of.
Yeah.
They probably have like. Because that's the main thing, is like the contractors, the spies and the assassins, and then there's probably got to be like obviously a pretty big counterterrorism unit with like tech, lots of digital spying and stuff, and so I'm trying to think like, all right, so if it's not really that abnormal for people in high positions to commit sex crimes. You and I see it all the time. We would deal with all walks of life. We deal with people that have grown up in the hood, and then people that have had top level jobs.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that if we prosecute these people, it's going to give up state secrets. In other words, it's almost like they're making the case that we would rather maintain national security than get justice for the sexual abuse that happened. And that sounds almost reasonable, but it kind of sounds like bullshit too.
Well, maybe, but like I have a couple thoughts on this. Like, okay, I get that there's James Bond type dudes in the CIA, right?
Yeah.
Snipers, spies, all the rest of all. I mean, I assume.
Coolest.
Yeah, coolest.
Yeah.
Like the Mike Baker people.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay, I assume so. But the CIA also has janitors too, right?
Exactly.
Like, so, I mean, when you say employees, like, well, janitors are employees.
Especially contractors.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a janitor.
Somebody is taking out the trash, right? Somebody's cleaning the toilets. And it's not just janitors either. I mean, whatever other and I haven't read this article, so this is my initial thought on this is when we say employees, and of course, the news is naturally looking for clicks, and it's not that it's not thought provoking. I know it is. Yeah. It is provocative. However, I'm just what type of employee? What are we talking about here?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I mean, because this could be this could be the doorman for all I know. I mean, I assume there's a doorman, or what are the other like kind of baseline entry level positions of the CIA?
It's got to be like data entry.
We got janitors. We got data entry. Well, of course, like there's going to be IT people. You ever notice how
IT people.
Dude, IT people can't get no love. Have you ever noticed they're never on like a normal floor? They're always in the dungeons of the buildings.
Yeah.
You trolls go down there.
Their offices just like crappy fluorescent overhead lights and cubicle like.
But then again, when was the last time that you saw like an IT dude that's just banging? Just a smoke show.
They don't make them.
I mean, nothing against IT dudes. I'm just saying, or gals. I'm just saying, I've only ever worked with IT dudes, and I don't know, not easy on the eyes. Let's just say that. So, but that's just so weird. Like you think.
Well, but here's the thing, and again, you and I are both venturing into this article together for the first time, but like, they're talking about that. Prosecuting these sex crimes would result in state secrets getting exposed, and so then it's like, because it's like, okay, if it's an IT person, if it's you could probably prosecute somebody that helped people get their computer rebooted or something, but like as far as like, well, what would have to happen in a sexual offense for the discovery of it be to compromise national security. Like, why would that?
Well, to me, it sounds like what qualifies as a state secret, the bar seems incredibly low.
That's probably it.
Because let's say, and nothing against janitors, folks, I'm just saying. Or what's the custodial technicians? Is that the... Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, could state secrets be like what Jerry looked up on YouPorn the week before, and the janitor saw that as he was... Is that a state secret, you know?
They're kind of shoveling anything under the umbrella.
And obviously I'm messing around here. I don't know if these were janitors, but you know, the other thought I was having about this was
custodial technicians.
There you go. The other thought I was having about this was, you know, we work with officers who do work on like the ICAC task force, Internet Crimes Against Children, right? And we worked with multiple clients that have been arrested by Homeland Security and the FBI. Yeah. And there's, I mean, I don't know, and I've never been privy to the rules, you know, and I know clients always say that it's entrapment and stuff like that, and then after I read the transcript, I'm like, okay, no, it's not, but Dateline type stuff, right?
Right.
Okay, so Dateline to catch a predator type stuff, and I wonder how much of that is involved in this too, like the CIA obtaining and utilizing, you know, images like child pornographic images or illegal images or whatever as a mechanism
as
for
bait.
Maybe, I don't know if they're using it as bait like that. What I'm saying is does that play a role into this too? Because what I do know is that those folks deal with some dark stuff. You know what I mean? Like in terms of the conversations and then also the images that they have viewed, because, you know, like not as a matter of they're actually consuming the child pornography, but, you know, the other people on the other end will send them stuff, and now they're getting a distribution charge, you know. So ICAC receives that as an image of whatever horribleness they've sent. And they're doing it clandestine, law enforcement, you know, whatever. Call it a sting operation, whatever you want. But, you know, there's a purpose for doing that. And we've kind of always talked to clients about, like, well, true, it's not like you developed it. It's not like you abused the kid yourself, but you created a market for it. And then you're also sharing that market and making it bigger. And that's the real crime here. That's what we're talking about. And it's a horrible crime, right? So I don't know how much of that is involved in this either. Like, did somebody, I don't know, have something in their possession that they shouldn't have had or something else? So that was kind of like, is it collateral damage as a result of my job in the first place?
Yeah. I didn't know. I had to consider that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
Well,
let's keep rolling.
Let's read on, shall we? The revelations are contained in hundreds of internal agency reports obtained by BuzzFeed News through the Freedom of Information Act lawsuits.
Look at BuzzFeed, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
One employee had sexual contact with a 2-year-old. That seems a little much. And a 6-year-old. He was fired. Well, thank goodness. A second employee purchased 3 sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. A third employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. The records do not say what action, if any, the CIA took against him. A contractor who arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent posing as a child had his contract revoked. Only one of the individuals cited in these 3 documents was charged with a crime. In that case, as in the only previously known case of CIA staffer being charged with child sexual crimes, the employee was also under investigation for mishandling classified material. Okay, so obviously those are all horrible.
Yeah,
Seems like there's no excuse.
Right.
But again, they're using this, in my opinion, an ambiguous term, because you hear CIA, you think agent, right?
Yeah.
You think about an agent, and they're using the word employee. That
seems really broadens the scope.
Well, it seems like it'd be juicier if it was an agent, right?
Yeah, it would be.
Versus like somebody in the mailroom.
Right.
Right. So this is, okay, think about it like this. Let's say I worked for, I don't know, some county government agency, right? And I was the head honcho, the director of whatever that agency was. And one of my, custodial technicians had in his possession child pornography, and we terminated him. Well, so what's my obligation? I mean, is it my job to arrest him and prosecute him at that point? Does the CIA even have the authority to do anything on that end? Or
well, I think what's happening. No. So these people are getting arrested by, well, I don't know, I guess the FBI or the police or whatever. But then the CIA is like saying, hey, we've got it from here. It's a matter of national security. We'll handle it internally. And I believe that's what's happening. So it's, the CIA wouldn't be in charge of prosecution. They'd be in charge of, well, referring it to law enforcement.
Right. But look at, so just going back to the previous one, it says, though most of these cases were referred to U.S. attorneys for prosecution, only one of the individuals was ever charged with a crime. Isn't that more on the U.S. attorneys?
Well, read that next sentence.
Prosecutors sent the rest of the cases back to the CIA to handle internally, meaning few faced any consequences beyond. Well, okay, fine, but why? Why would the U.S. attorneys hand it back to the CIA?
That's a good question. Like, why would they listen to? Like, why would they be like, okay, CIA, it sounds like you guys got it. If it's a matter of national security, far be it from us from wanting to.
Yeah, but then what? It's not like the CIA has lawyers of their own,
exactly,
and their own prison and their own judges. Like, they don't have that.
Which is why everyone's getting away with it.
Well, I get that, but then why? So isn't this more of? I mean, if you look at the art, I mean, look at this picture on the front. And again, I'm not like defending anybody at the CIA who committed these crimes.
You're saying it's the prosecutor's fault.
Well, dude, look at this. So and BuzzFeed, they have a good story here. It's thought provoking, like I said, but look at this. This is a graphic of the Central Intelligence Agency shield along with some broken child in the back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, does that speak? If you looked at that, does anything about that say, hey, the U.S. attorneys dropped the ball?
No,
it doesn't at all. But I'm saying, like,
that sounds like what it sounds like happened.
Well, what's the prosecutorial burden of the CIA to do anything at this point?
Right. Yeah. Why? Well, that's a good point. Why are the prosecutors like? I guess this does kind of fall on the prosecutors because the CIA, as far as I know, doesn't have the mechanism from within to even handle it from a criminal case.
Dude, do you think they just wanted them to get murked and so they didn't have to?
maybe the prosecutors like, you know what? We'll refer it back to the CIA. They're gonna they're gonna all end up committing suicide.
Yeah, by that I mean Epstein him.
Yeah. They're gonna all end up going the way of Epstein. Yeah.
Didn't
happen apparently.
Well, I don't know. I look at these things and as you know, I guess provocative as the article is, it still leaves me with some unanswered questions because whenever you're not being, and not that BuzzFeed has got this wrong. That's not what I'm saying. The facts are the facts. I'm saying that like it's written in a way that if you just looked at this at face value, you'd be like, oh my God, the CIA, what do they do? And what are they covering up? And actually, like, that's what the CIA does. It does shady shit.
They lie. Yeah, they lie.
That's like their gig, right?
Yeah.
But when you say employee, I'm like, okay, is that the guy who comes and picks up the shred bin once a month? You know,
right. Yeah,
and takes it, and I mean, who are we talking about here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that the guy who refills the Coke machine? You know,
right. Yeah.
Or the Fritos, or who is this? Who is this employee? Which I hope they haven't gotten to yet. Maybe they will.
Let's keep reading. We're just assuming shit.
I know. I love to just ruin everything. People are yelling at. They're like, "It's at the end, idiot." Yeah. The CIA did not answer detailed questions, saying only that the agency takes all allegations of possible criminal misconduct committed by personnel seriously. A spokesperson for the Eastern District of Virginia, where many of the criminal referrals were sent, also did not answer detailed questions, saying the district takes seriously its responsibilities to hold accountable federal government employees who violate federal law within our jurisdiction. Well, hopefully anybody who violates federal law within your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
4 former officials who are familiar with how internal investigations work at intelligence agencies told BuzzFeed News there are many reasons that prosecutors might not pursue a criminal case. Here we go. One of them, familiar with the workings of the CIA's Office of the Inspector General, said the agency is concerned that in a criminal case it could lose control of sensitive information.
Right.
The former official... What? Okay, hold on a second. But even if that's true, then why does the CIA get a pass on that? Like, that's still, if it wasn't pursued by by the inspector general or whatever, or the attorneys, like, I mean, they don't care. They don't. I mean, as attorneys, you think you'd want to blow the lid off some of this stuff, if anything, right? Make a name for yourself.
It will, and it which makes it interesting why they didn't do that, because it sounds like they're appealing to kind of even like a higher authority than the CIA. Not like an actual authority like the president or something, but just sort of the idea of national security. Right. Kind of like, hey, we can't have you guys investigate this because that might uncover this policy that helps us spy on Yemen or something.
Well, I mean, I just don't know.
Like, okay.
Well, okay, think about just politically, right? In the last, 10 years, if there's ever a politician, regardless of the level, president or otherwise, right? When has a prosecutor ever balked at not overturn everything? Like undercovering, like whether it's the most personal information on the planet, about this they don't care. They just get it out there. Yeah, I mean the juicier the better in a lot of cases. Like it seems.
So why did they sit on it?
Right. So I mean, the CIA. I think like any agency would want to distance themselves from that employee, because clearly, I think we can all agree the CIA is not condoning sex with 2-year-olds. Right. But when it's prosecuted, it's like, that's what we would do. I mean, if we were an employer and we had an employee that was on our dime committing crimes, we'd be like, well, that's clearly not part of our policy and procedure. They're terminated. Yeah, let the chips fall where they may in terms of law enforcement. It has nothing to do with us. What's my responsibility at that point?
I think the only way that you wouldn't do that is if you felt fear that you were going to end up suiciding yourself like Epstein. Maybe the prosecutors are afraid that they're going to end up in a river or something,
they just show up missing.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like the CIA referred it to them, and then the prosecutors kicked it back to them.
Right.
So in most cases,
right.
Let's read on here. The former official who reviewed the declassified Inspector General reports characterized the concern from CIA lawyers as, we can't have these people testify. They may inadvertently be forced to disclose sources and methods. Well, that sounds like spies.
It does.
The official who noted the agency has had a problem with child abuse images stretching back decades said they understand the need to protect sensitive and classified equities. However, for crimes of a certain class, whether it's an intelligence agency or not, you just have to figure out how to prosecute these people.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Sexual crimes involving children, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, that's a while ago, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees American spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. Who said polygraphs don't work, huh?
They even get the top spies.
At a symposium. What a dumb word, a symposium. What does that even mean? Like a meeting? Just a big meeting? Is that?
I was looking at that word reconnaissance. That's a spelling bee word, man. Holy shit, look at that. I'd have never got that right.
Yeah, it looks like Renaissance almost.
It does.
At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable.
What?
Well, dude, but how is that any different from anywhere else? Like, you know what I mean?
How is this so widespread? I guess that's what people ask us to explain, but what the hell, man?
Well, I don't know. But I mean, think about a lot of the clients that we have worked with that have been prosecuted.
Yeah.
It's in all walks of life.
It is.
It doesn't matter what they were doing. Like, I've worked with people who were web developers all the way down to, dudes who were homeless and looking things up on their government-issued phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is it a part of you still surprised, though? Just like maybe a little bit. Just because you think of people at the elite top level, I don't know. Maybe I need to listen to a guy like Alex Jones more talking about intergalactic child molesters. No, you don't. Yeah.
let me help you. No, you don't.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I guess I just I still have this naive assumption that people that are in like the most trusted positions that govern our national security somehow have a higher moral standard, and I'm just wrong. It's kind of crazy.
No, there's dicks everywhere, man. There's assholes in every profession.
People are looking them up on the computer.
Well, I think that, I mean, that's where, the amount of child pornography is unbelievable. Unbelievable to whom? Like, I mean, to you, Like, right. Which that could have been 3 people in the entire agency. I mean, if you go, and I hate to think this way, but if I go to any any place that has 100 or more employees in it right now, I mean, how many of those people are, at least 2 are probably doing something illegal on their computer, right? That involves something sexual or otherwise. Yeah. I mean, I don't like to, that's just what I would figure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But, most of the times they won't get caught or whatever. But we always act surprised when we see this, because it's always in the news. Oh my God, I would have never suspected that dude. But I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm not surprised at all anymore. Like,
no, by nothing.
I see it. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. Just like anybody else, like it's, and I think it's probably, unfortunately, more widespread than we actually think it is.
That's what's wild to me. But yeah. No, and again, I'm of 2 minds, because we've seen so much and heard so much that it's like, yeah, nothing surprises me anymore. But then at the same time, things still catch me off guard. It's like the amount of child porn in these top government jobs is like unbelievable. What was the quote? Like that I don't know. It's just,
yeah. He said, this was the other thing I was thinking about. So it says, at a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable.
What are they doing at work? I mean, we're not even just talking about... So here's what I guess surprised me. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that sentence said, the amount of porn I see is unbelievable. But like the amount of child porn... So we're talking about just volumes of child porn. Maybe that's the part. And I guess unbelievable from one person to the next. Unbelievable is a subjective term. I mean, maybe it'd be quite believable for us to...
Yeah, who's to say this Daniel Payne guy isn't like into it? Like, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's how he means it. Yeah. Don't kill us, Mr. Payne.
Well, this might... What about their computers, though? Okay, so you and I both know that when, and you've seen kind of like the rundown of a guy is investigated for, child pornography, and they go in there and they like ransack the place. Yeah. Right? When they get a search warrant, they take every internet-capable device in there and go through it. So let's say you're just a mid-level staffer at the CIA, but your computer has sensitive information on it. And the only way to obtain those images is to forensically destroy that computer and get all those things. Could that be what's being referenced? I know they said testify, but would that by default like expose state secrets that they don't want to cover?
Oh, right. I guess that's what they're saying.
Maybe,
Well, are they saying that the forensic examination of the computer would expose state secrets, or that people being forced to testify would inadvertently expose state secrets, or they're just using it as a blanket, and we don't want the heat. Look over there, guys. We're gonna keep spying.
What I haven't seen so far is the CIA telling the Attorney General's office, "Hey, you can't prosecute these guys because they have state secrets." Like, I've not seen that.
It's just the prosecutor saying we turned it over to the CIA.
But why would you ever do that? That doesn't make any sense. Like, if I work at Target, and one of my security guys is in looking at cameras, but also like downloading child porn, and I fire him, and I turn it over to law enforcement. The prosecuting attorney for that county doesn't come back to Target and says, "You guys take care of him."
Not at all.
So, and I get Target's different than the CIA, but last I checked, the CIA doesn't do that stuff. That's a completely different division of the government, right?
Uh-huh.
That's why I'm wanting this. It's just not adding up.
No.
I mean, and again, maybe we're idiots.
We need to keep reading.
I like this bit by bit dissection.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get to see.
It'll be much more revelatory when we get to the end and we're like, oh, we're idiots. See you, folks.
Sorry for wasting an hour.
Good night. Okay, child abuse revelations are drawn from an unprecedented release of reports by the CIA's Office of the Inspector General. BuzzFeed News gained access to these documents after a decade-long pursuit. Wow.
That's a hell of a
that's a good pursuit. Like, they had to know something ahead of time, huh? Which included 13 public records requests and 3 separate Freedom of Information lawsuits. Wow. Those requests, the earliest of which date back to 2012, were for investigations closed by the Office of the Inspector General, which acts independently of the agency to examine misconduct by employees or contractors. So essentially like internal affairs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. New requests were filed each subsequent year. At first, the CIA did not respond to the requests. Then, it said it would take years to provide any documents. Those requests were followed by 2014, 2015, and 2020 by lawsuits, and the agency entered into negotiations about what documents to release. The coronavirus pandemic delayed the process, of course, by a year, but the agency finally began to release the documents in March and will release the final set in December. Maybe we have to wait for a Christmas present, huh? Or is that now? BuzzFeed News publishes the reports here for public view. Wow. Among the 3,000 pages covering the years 2004-2019 are investigations, big and small, involving billing irregularities by contractors, a spy who expensed a visit to an overseas gentleman's club, and an employee who used government computer systems to resell more than 700 items purchased at yard sales. Well, that's kind of business as usual.
Yeah.
I mean,
for the course, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked for government agencies before, and they're like, you can't do this on it. But everybody, come on. Like, people are checking their...
Look somewhere else.
Yeah. That's who cares? Yeah. I mean, a spy who expensed a visit to an overseas gentleman's club.
So what? Yeah. Unless, as long as all the... if it was in Thailand, maybe that would be a little...
Yeah. It's kind of funny. That reminds me of that time that we were in Colorado. Do you remember that?
I do.
We were in Denver, and we were gonna... We had the opportunity. All we wanted to do was watch a fight. That was it. It was Bisping versus Vanderlei Silva, right?
Yeah.
And we wanted to go watch that, but the only place it was within walking distance was at a strip club. Mm-hmm. and our boss was giving us a per diem, and we're like, well, we can go over there and not just look, And then
he was paying us to learn at the conference, and bring information back.
That would have been the exact same thing as this. We would have used a work expense to go to a gentleman's club.
That's true.
For the purpose. Who knows? That guy just wasn't watching fights over there.
And we used a technique that we teach clients on decision making, and we ended up not going.
Yeah, we ended up not going. And then our boss made fun of us later for not going.
So you should have gone, guys.
Yeah. I'd been happy to pay for that. Gentlemen's club alike. Let's see here. Other reports have been the subject of previous news coverage, such as the CIA's involvement in the production of the film Zero Dark 30, the torture of detainees held at black site prisons, and a decades-old operation in Peru that led to the death of missionaries. More recent reports show the CIA employee was investigated in October 2018 for using agency computer systems and databases to conduct unofficial searches on her brother. Well, of course.
Who hasn't done that?
Right. I mean, like, you're like, hey, I'm going to go on a date with this guy. Can you look up his license plate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that the Inspector General's substantiated allegations in a January 2018 memorandum that another CIA employee violated the Hatch Act, which limits political activity by civil servants in the executive branch. Again, happens all the time. The documents also reveal the pattern of sexual abuse cases whereby internal investigators unearthed evidence of sexual crimes involving children, but federal prosecutors brought no charges. Again, why? Why did that?
Right. That doesn't make sense.
As is typical of intelligence documents, the records have been heavily redacted. Among the information that has been hidden are the names of the accused employees and contractors and details about their jobs at the CIA. The agency cites privacy reasons, national security, and a federal law that exempts the CIA from disclosing details of its operations. But that's not the same thing. That's not the same thing. So, okay. So look, right here, as you can see, right? Like, okay, this is what it says. And I highlighted, inappropriate sexual activity with an unidentified 2-year-old girl. Admitted to having inappropriate sexual contact with then 6-year-old. Okay, so horrible. Well, I think we can all agree on that. A heavily redacted report from the CIA Inspector General obtained via FOIA. It feels like they're conflating the fact that they're not releasing information about this person with that being the reason it wasn't prosecuted.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, okay, think about an attorney's job, like a prosecutor's job. I mean, like attorneys, what's their number one objective?
Conviction.
Win. That's it. Prosecutors want to get conviction, but attorneys, all they want to do is win, right? And rightly so. And if you have an attorney on your side, you want him to win or her, right? Okay, fine. So now with prosecutors, I mean, don't they have to maintain like something of a 95% conviction rate? Otherwise, they don't stay in that position for very long.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have to. Okay. In other words, I mean, I think prosecutors only take cases that they are certain they're going to win.
Oh.
And they don't prosecute other ones based on lack of evidence or whatever, because if I'm 50% conviction rate as a prosecutor, I mean, which would be unheard of, okay? And lawyers, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've talked to a prosecutor about this before, and they have to maintain a high level of conviction rates. So they, for whatever reason, perhaps they didn't have enough evidence to prosecute these guys. And how, again, does that fall on the shoulders of the CIA?
It wouldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the CIA refused to provide evidence, that to the prosecutors to say, here, you can do this, citing the exposure of state secrets or something like that, right? That's the only way the CIA could be involved in that.
Well, and the weird thing is that it looks like the CIA fired or 86th the contract of some of these people, and also they're not releasing the names of these people. You'd think that once they I guess that's so that once the person is no longer a CIA employee or contractor, they still can't be prosecuted. How do they have that power? I don't, because the prosecutors would know who the person is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the prosecutor knows who it is, and the CIA fires them, why wouldn't the prosecutor go back after them?
Well, right. And if there was enough evidence to, they're not still employees of the CIA.
Right. So they wouldn't be under that umbrella. So there's some other weird backroom shit going on.
Well, because the way, like when I'm first diving into this, the way it sounds is like, as a matter of me being a James Bond spy, that I in the course of all that, I molested a 2-year-old, right? Which I'm sure that's not what I'm getting now. It sounds like there was an employee there, and this is the other thing. There's nothing so far that says, as a matter of their duties and responsibilities, that's how, like, this could have been a completely separate aspect of this dude's life.
Yeah, it wasn't deep cover to look at porn around other child predators to like show that you're cool, the way that people will, smoke a joint to show the dealer that he's not a cop.
Right. Yeah. So you don't, like, as a CIA operative, it's not like you step into a room full of, like, I don't know, child sex traffickers, and they're like, molest that kid, otherwise we're going to kill you. Like,
I'm in cover.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm sure that's, and if that was the case, then it seems like that would be published. You know what I mean? They'd be all over that. But again, we haven't finished the article. Let's see. Not knowing the identities of the suspect is a hindrance in identifying these cases and why they were declined.
Oh.
Well, okay. Yeah. There it is. The spokesperson. So, dude, I hate it because I'm like, it's not like I hate the term fake news, right? But it's, at the very least, like, the headline is a little misleading. Like, I'm like, ooh, what's this? You know what I mean? And then
what was the headline again?
Let's look. Yeah, let's see. Secrets. Ooh, you start with secret CIA
that's
files.
All you gotta
anything
say, secret.
Anything after secret CIA files is awesome.
You are clicking that link.
Yeah. Say secret CIA files say staffers committed sex crimes involving children. You know what?
That's a good headline.
I know, but even more so, staffers committed sex crimes involving children.
That doesn't say agent, does it?
No. And you know what I know about BuzzFeed is, I think pretty credible news source. And staffers, though, like, they're very deliberate in their language. So they wouldn't have put, CIA,
operator.
If they said operator, operatives, not operator. Yeah, it's like, hello, operator. CIA, how can I connect you? Why do they always have that shitty voice?
I don't know, it's mandatory.
Yeah. Yeah, if you had a normal voice, they just fire you.
No, we don't need you. Yeah.
So, let's see, where were we here? Okay, we're down here. Of the 10 workers who the Inspector General found had committed sexual crimes involving children, 5 were fired or resigned. Okay, 4 others were referred to a personnel board or the Office of Security, which investigates classified leaks and is responsible for the safety of CIA facilities. Okay, the outcome of one case in which 10 child sexual abuse images were discovered on a CIA computer that had been left unattended is unknown. The employee to whom that device was assigned said he switched computers while he was overseas. He denied using it to view such material. Okay, so in other words, like, maybe that's true and maybe it's not, but how many times have, like, I'll give you an example. One of my clients, once upon a time, he said he purchased a laptop from a pawn shop. And unbeknownst to him, there was, child pornography on there. Yeah. Now, when I look at the details of the case, I don't really believe him, okay? But, I mean, I don't know. Do pawn shops, do they wipe those clean? And even if, like, I mean, I don't know if this is what is that stupid phrase? I've never understood it. Possession is 9/10 of the law. What does that even mean? I don't know what that means. What does that even mean? Yeah. Like, I don't even get that. But, so, I mean, think of how up Schitt's Creek you would be if some dude came by and said, how much can I get for this laptop? And a pawn shop says, $50. Okay, thank you. And you're like, oh, sweet, And what's the obligation of the pawn shop owner at that point? And what if investigators come in and arrest him as a matter of having that on there? I mean, what's the protocol there? I don't know.
Is there one?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Right? And if I don't know, what if your buddy owes you money and he's like, well, I can't pay you, but I can give you my MacBook Pro. Okay, cool, thanks.
Now you've got it in your possession, and that says that's 9/10 of the law.
Well, and that's 9/10. Why not 5/8?
Yeah, you're right.
It's so stupid. Yeah. I don't even know what that means. But like, okay, so all those things considered, like, if I have the MacBook Pro in my possession and there's child porn on it, and I get arrested for whatever reason, and then as a matter of like, just. And, do you mind if we search your computer, sir? And people are dumb all the time when they talk to police officers. Oh, go ahead. There's nothing on there. What's this? That's not mine would be the first, and it'd be true if that were the case. And is that going to save you? Like, you had a computer in your possession. Of course, you could reference your friend, but your friend's now in Honduras or something. You're never to be heard from again. You know what I mean? You're cooked. You're cooked. Yeah. So maybe they didn't have enough evidence to move forward with it. I mean, there's any number of explanations for this. That's why it just rubs me the wrong way a little bit. Let's see here. In the 11th case, the Inspector General received a complaint in November 2016 that an employee used a government computer to view child sexual abuse images. Although the investigators couldn't corroborate the allegation, so it was an allegation and they couldn't corroborate it. They discovered that he had shown a consistent interest and pattern of redacted conversations involving sexual activities between adults and minors. Okay.
Okay. I don't know what that means for sure.
I don't either. Yeah. So he was reading like NAMBLA material or something?
That's right.
The Inspector General alerted security officials and the Directorate of Science and Technology, that's weird, because of the accusation raised potential security and accountability issues. Details of how the case was resolved and any penalties the employee faced are redacted. I guess if somebody was doing that and they worked for the CIA, that could definitely be used as leverage against them. Like if they had a spy from another foreign government that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that could then be used against them. So, but I mean, who knows? So if I'm online and I'm on some, I don't know, whatever dark web channel I'm on or whatever, and I'm talking to some
Ivan in Russia.
Yeah. Milichenko or something, and he sends me these images. Now I'm hit for this, or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. Goes on to say prosecutors generally have wide discretion over whether to bring criminal charges. Okay. They can judge the evidence too old or weak, consider a crime victim's desire to proceed with prosecution, and weigh the chances of convincing a jury. Just like I said, the occupation or employer of the suspect does not factor into that evaluation. The spokesperson... Well, then why are we putting CIA on blast?
Yeah.
The spokesperson with the U.S. Attorney General's Office for the Eastern District said, while we cannot comment on the reasons why specific cases were declined, we do take very seriously any allegation that our prosecutors declined a potential case based on an improper assessment of the relevant factors. It appears that at least half of the sexual abuse investigations originated with a confession. So not corroborating, not they just found it. The documents do not spell out the circumstances surrounding those statements or whether they emerged during grueling full-scope polygraph examinations that can probe every part of CIA employees and contractors' lives.
It's like those the polygraph where they ask you everything.
Oh yeah. But so they can't even get into the details of why they didn't prosecute it, other than that they chose not to prosecute.
That's all they're saying.
Right.
There's some secret squirrel shit going on.
Squirrel. Yeah. The whole. I mean, let's see here. Man, it seems like I want to get something that really rocks me. You know what I mean?
Let's skip to the very last paragraph.
Let's do that.
Let's see if this is answered.
This was okay. Despite admissions, let's see here. Despite the admissions and the evidence that investigators found on these devices, this is from one guy, prosecutors from Eastern District, Virginia declined to take up a criminal case. They told the Inspector General there was a taint issue.
A term
that is sometimes used referred to as mishandled evidence. The attorneys also said
I'd say
that the girls in those videos had not been previously identified child pornography victims, making it harder to prove they were minors. So
that's not...
Think about this. Like, one of the recent conferences that we attended, they talked about the most widely searched term when it comes to pornography websites, teen. And those are individuals who are 18 years or older that are dressed up to look like minors.
It's like that barely legal genre.
Right. And it's the most popular in the entire country. Okay? So, I'm not saying everybody's doing it. What I'm saying is it's the most popular, widely searched term when it comes to searching for pornography. And I have to imagine, that, it's provocative enough that it's getting that way. So, it appears as if this is the case. So, everybody's just a bunch of perverts. Is that it, And I'm not saying it's okay. What I'm saying is like, could what they're saying here is, well, we couldn't prove that this was children in the first place. And also, anybody remember the O.J. Simpson case and what happens when you mishandle evidence? You can't use it.
Dude.
Right. You can't use it. So it kind of makes sense as some of these is the reasons why. And I guess it just overall, I think we're done with this. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not reading that thing. Jeez. No. 3,000? No, thank you. What I think this uncovers more than anything is, I don't care what your profession is, whatever it is, there's some freaks in there, right?
Yeah.
And they're looking at illegal shit
at all levels,
right? And that's all that proves. And then also that it's kind of a difficult case to prosecute when you think about it. And a lot of our clients, think about all the things that, the whole thing is based on these clandestine, interactions with strangers on the internet that they, I think the Internet Crimes Against Children, Homeland Security, FBI, I think they all do a really good job, of kind of doing these, because that's real. How else are you going to catch them? It's not as if dudes are bringing in a box full of child pornography images and handing it off to another dude. Like everything's digital, right? Yeah. And unless you kind of pass these tests, essentially, these kind of like, you know, texting type tests or chatting tests that they do, do you get to the actual content that can be used to prosecute this individual? And then, you know, every time I've seen that, they have them dead nuts. Like, they are done. They have their IP address. They had the evidence on the, you know.
There's no getting around it.
No, not at that point. And what I'd say is, any prosecutor worth, you know, I didn't see anything in there that suggested that the CIA said, hey, look, as a favor to us, will you please not prosecute?
Yeah, it makes it look like it's a prosecution's decision once it's turned over to them.
Which is also not super crazy. Like, if the prosecutor doesn't have enough evidence to prosecute it, well, then they're not going to prosecute it, which is unfortunate. And sometimes we know people have done things and they choose not to prosecute it because they feel like they're going to lose. And that's, you know, and that's just how our legal system is set up. So,
well, don't you think we're going to find out, maybe if we do find anything out, that there had to have been some type of arrangement or communication between the prosecution and the CIA for the prosecutor to even honor the concept of ditching the case for national security? Like, because you're saying you're being giving a lot of benefit of the doubt to the prosecutor that maybe there wasn't enough evidence to pursue the charges, but this keeps falling back on that it was referred back to the CIA, and the CIA at most just fired the people, and then the prosecution still chose not to follow up on it. So there is another piece here besides just that there might not have been enough evidence, I think.
So this is the part that I'm missing, is why would you refer back to the CIA for what?
Right, I know. Yeah, well, that's what they're... Because, well, I mean, you're asking that, saying that, well, it's not the CIA doesn't have the mechanism to, or do they? Does the CIA have the same thing that like the military has with? I mean, the military has like their own prison and shit.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, they're a government agency.
But like the army has it though. Like you go to the brig.
Does the FBI?
I don't know.
They don't. Yeah. I mean, if
are you sure? I mean, I don't know. I really don't know. Are you sure the CIA does?
Don't think so. I mean, they have people who kill other people, I'm sure. You know.
Yeah.
There's that. But I mean, yeah, the military is kind of like its own sovereign thing.
Yeah.
They operate that way for a really good reason, right? Whereas, I mean, just take a local law enforcement. Okay. I mean, does our local Ogden City Police Department, do they have? I mean, I know they have judges through Ogden City, but Ogden City Police Department does it in and of itself, like have all those it's a mixture of government officials who are kind of going into this, right? You know, it's not just one. So that's why I'm wondering, like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I have no clue, but I've never heard of CIA jail or
me neither.
CIA judges. You know what I mean?
If there was such a thing, then it would kind of make sense as to why the prosecutors would turn it over.
Well, I just think there's a lot of loose language in here. And
you're saying like shoddy journalism?
No. I think everything in here is accurate. But like, so second paragraph, though most of the cases will refer to the U.S. attorneys for prosecution, only one of the individuals was ever charged with a crime. Prosecutors sent the rest of the cases back to the CIA to handle internally, meaning, okay, so look, they sent it to prosecutors. Prosecutors said, we don't have enough evidence. So they said, you guys handle this internally. Okay? Meaning few faced any consequences beyond possible loss of their jobs and security clearances. That marks a striking deviation from how sex crimes involving children have been handled at other federal agencies, such as the Department of Homeland Security. Well, what does that even mean? And then, like this, CIA insiders say the agency resists prosecution of its staff for fear the cases will reveal state secrets. Hold on, though. What in that paragraph said the agency resists prosecution of its staff? They don't have a choice. They turned it over to the prosecutors. The prosecutors sent it back to them. How is that resisting prosecution?
That's a good point. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How is that?
They don't have a choice. I mean,
it looks like the CIA covered, like, when you look at it just in general, it looks like the CIA covered it up.
But it's more the prosecution is saying, never mind, go ahead and deal with it yourself, CIA.
Think about it like this. If, kind of like how college campuses, we've done groups on this before, how college campuses set up tribunals basically on campus for purposes of like, committees on alleged sex crimes on campus, right? And so somebody, makes an allegation against another college student. That goes to law enforcement. Law enforcement says, unfortunately, we don't have enough evidence to move forward with this. Where does that go? That gets kicked back to the college, and the college can reprimand accordingly, right? The university can reprimand accordingly. Maybe that student gets put on academic probation. Maybe they get expelled. I don't know what it is, but there's their burden of proof, for purposes of like kicking a kid out of the university for a violation of student code of conduct is much lower than beyond a reasonable doubt, right? So when a prosecutor's looking at this and they're saying, I don't have enough evidence to move forward with this, and nor would they want to, because think about all of the like cold cases that went for years on end, and then DNA came back, and then they were able to prosecute, right? Well, if the prosecutor had originally prosecuted those cases, and then homeboy got off, all the DA evidence in the world would not get him convicted again. Right. So it's not only because of the lack of evidence, it's also in the prosecutor's best interest to say, well, let's see how the investigation unfolds, because as time goes on, we might have enough evidence to move forward with the case.
That's a good point.
Well, right. That's, of course. Yeah. I mean, and I'm not like, I don't claim to know much about the legal system. I'm just using logic here. Like, that's it, So I'm just saying it's not shoddy journalism. I mean, I think that you just, when you get things like this, you have to read between the lines a little bit, So, yeah. So I guess, in conclusion, we need to revisit this in December to see if there's any other juicy details that come out.
We'll stay on top of it.
Dude, wouldn't that be sweet if they're like, that it was all a huge, this gigantic conspiracy, and Epstein was involved, and
oh my God, like Ghislaine Maxwell, she's getting grilled right now.
How do you pronounce her name?
Ghislaine, I don't know.
Fix your name,
freak.
Got a
terrible name.
Yeah. How are we going to get guilty by reason of shit name?
Based off a shitty name.
We'll have to see how that goes. Well, so we uncovered nothing here.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. Hopefully it was at least entertaining.
Yeah.
It was fun talking about.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
See you later, folks.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.